What's the role of parenting and parenting styles in skin picking disorder? Today, we're going to talk about some research. So, I'm Annette Pasternak, the Stop Skin Picking coach, and I put up a post about a month ago asking you all what kinds of videos you wanted me to do and gave a few choices. And the top choice, 40% of you wanted more videos on research about skin picking. And this is the one, this research today is also about hair pulling disorder or trichotillomania. We're going to discuss a paper called Parental Bonding in Trichotillomania and Skin Picking Disorder. So I chose this paper because to me, this is the most interesting research that I've seen in this field, possibly, and especially in the last couple of years. So this is a paper that came out almost 2 years ago. This was a study that was done as an online survey of 184 adults with either skin picking disorder, trichotillomania, or both. They were given this survey called the Parental Bonding Instrument, or PBI, where they're being asked questions, they're being described something about parenting, such as my parents were very affectionate, and they're asked to answer with like strongly agree, agree, sort of not agree, strongly disagree. So something like this. It measures parental care, which is defined as expression of affection, and it measures parental protection, which is encouragement to explore the environment. So there are two axes for this parental bonding graph. So the x-axis is about care. So high care means that the parents were very nurturing, very affectionate, and low care means emotionally rejecting or neglectful. On the y-axis is protection. So low protection, which would be ideal, is at the top. That's fostering autonomy in the child, and high protection at the bottom is rigid control or overprotection. Being overprotective is a negative. So the combination of these axes creates four different parenting styles. So in the upper right, this is called the optimal bonding style. This is optimal parental bonding, where there's high affection but low care. Children are emotionally nurtured, but they're also allowed the freedom to explore. The opposite of that in the lower left is called affectionless control, where they are not given appropriate affection, and also they are controlled more. They're not given appropriate freedom. And then, of course, we do have on the lower right, there's a combination that gives affectionate constraint. So given affection, but controlled a little highly. And then, of course, in the upper left, there's just absent or weak bonding where they have low care, also low protection, probably from because there's neglect. So in the general population, and we know this from other research studies that had normal controls, presumably in line with the general population seems to have between 40 to 60% of optimal bonding. Now, what are the results for the BFRB participants, those with the hair pulling or skin picking? So, well, actually, first I'll just mention what they were expecting, which was for BFRB, people with BFRBs to have experienced the affectionate constraint more than anything. So affection, but like some overprotection. And the reason they expected affectionate constraint was that that's what you see in OCD, where there's high protection from both mothers and fathers, and there's some low paternal care. And here are the results for BFRBs. So you see the affectionate constraint is actually the lowest, the smallest represented type. The largest group, and you see 42% of the mothers and 36% of the fathers falling into this group of affectionless control. Affectionless control is a parenting style in which parents are unresponsive to the child's needs for care, while at the same time not fostering appropriate independence. This creates an anxious attachment that may impair a positive self-identity. So this absolutely reminds me of several emails I've received from parents, not of young children, not even of teenagers, but I get sometimes emails from parents of kids in their 20s looking for coaching for them. And so I generally, with these parents, I'll email them and tell them, as your child's over 18, please have them contact me directly. And parents often understand, but sometimes I've gotten defensive emails explaining that their child will not do anything about the picking. And so they have to do it for them. And wow, is that control or what? I mean, this is an adult we're talking about, like well into adulthood, and you're still trying to control their body, basically, their own selves and their behavior. That's not something you can do anymore, or ever could, really, but it's not something that's your business anymore, right? And it really hinders their recovery. It sets up a dynamic of opposition, where if it's so important to the parent, it's going to be important to the child to assert their independence, meaning just even reflexively against whatever the parent wants. And, my mother was not that bad as to try to seek help for me when I was an adult, but she always did tell me, stop picking, whenever I would do anything, not even what I considered like a lot of picking. Like when I was picking in the mirror, I was just, touching my face. So my mom wasn't that bad. But if I were to take that parental bonding survey myself, I'm sure she would come up as the affectionless control, the top group. So, what do you all think? I mean, I'm so curious, like what people's experiences are. If you feel comfortable to share, what do you think your parents' parenting style were, and how that has affected you? If you are a parent, if this resonates with you. I think that hopefully, at least for kids, for therapy, for BFRBs, this will start to include the parents and maybe teaching the parents how to be more caring and nurturing, and also how to be less controlling, or to how to foster kids or allow kids to be more independent. If you're finding this presentation interesting and you like hearing about research, please give this a thumbs up. Now, it's interesting to compare this with other disorders. There has been research with this PBI survey. So behaviors like picking and hair pulling, they have some similarity with OCD, and they have some similarity with addictions or substance abuse disorders in other cases. So it's really interesting to compare the parenting styles there. So we already saw that in OCD, there's high protection. We already discussed that. In alcohol and substance abuse disorders and gambling disorder and kleptomania, the PBI showed that, first of all, affectionless control is the most frequent parenting style, just like in BFRBs. It also showed that optimal parenting was very rare, though. 0 to 4% came out optimal, as opposed to in BFRBs, it was like 27, 28%. For BFRBs, it seems more similar to the addictions, in which the affectionless control is the biggest group. There may be increased protection in BFRBs, but it wasn't as statistically significant as the low care. So, what do you think about this research? How does it resonate with your experience? Feel free to share in the comments below. And if you have any other ideas or suggestions for future videos, please share those too. And hopefully, I'll see you again soon. Bye.